Okay, so yesterday we were talking about the fear of losing people that we care about, and another antidote, to overcome the fear and then the attachment to the people when there's no choice, that we separate, is to send them on with love. Yeah. What I think often happens is when we're afraid of losing somebody, is we're projecting into the future, which of course hasn't happened yet, and we're writing a story about how awful the future is going to be without this person that we want to be in the future, but maybe they're still alive and they may be in the future, but we're afraid of them not being in the future. Or maybe they already died, or maybe we already separated or whatever, and so they aren't going to be in the future. But what we're doing is projecting into the future without this person that we want to be in the future, and then being upset because the future isn't going to be what we wanted it to be. Okay? Because when we're separate from somebody, we don't grieve about the past, do we? Because the past is over and done with. You don't grieve about the past. Yeah. The present is here right now, and it's going quickly. So you're not really grieving it about the present. But when we grieve, is we're grieving about the future that isn't going to be the way we want it to be. Yeah? And so this projection into the future creates the fear of loss now, of that person not being there. And, then when there is the separation, we're advancing into the future, and they're not going to be there. But the future hasn't happened yet. Okay. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah? I mean, think about it, because we're grieving for something that doesn't exist at this moment, which is the future. Aren't we? Aren't we? Yeah. And I think it's much more effective because, like we all know, whatever comes together has to separate. I mean, the Buddha said this, but he didn't need to say it. We see it all the time. It's reality, but we like to pretend it doesn't exist anyway. But, if we were to send people on with love instead of with fear, with regret, with remorse, with grief, with loss for a future that's not going to be, because all of that's revolving around us, isn't it? I'm not going to have that person in my future. We're not really thinking about the other person. Whereas if we send on the other person with love, we're sending them some good energy, that is going to benefit them. And we're not just stuck in, I'm not getting what I want, or it's not happening the way I expected, or the way I want it to happen, or the way it's supposed to happen. Because all those things, like what I want, how I want it to happen, what's supposed to happen, what ought to happen, what should happen, is totally irrelevant to reality, isn't it? It's totally irrelevant, because the thing is that we create the causes, and those causes manifest as the results. Yeah? So to create one set of causes and expect a different kind of result doesn't make any sense. And to look at what the natural laws are and to say they shouldn't be, like gravity shouldn't exist. So similarly, things that come together shouldn't separate unless I want them to separate, in which case they should separate as fast as possible, But if they don't want them to separate, they should stay together. You know, as if we could change all these laws by just liking them or not liking them. Yeah? And do you see how all of that is just revolving around this notion of me at the center? It's completely revolving around this concrete me that definitely is more important than anybody else. But when we look and we're able to send people on with love, then there's a lot of sweet feeling in our mind. And we can look in the past and say how fortunate I was to have that person in my life. It couldn't last forever, but how fortunate it was that it lasted as long as it did. And I benefited from it, and now I'm sending them on with a lot of love, you know. And then you do prayers for them, whether you're separating because of, you know, you're moving to different places, or somebody's dying, or, you know, whatever the reason for the separation is send them on with good feelings and dedications for their well-being. Okay? And that completely changes how our mind feels, and it gets rid of this whole mess of fear and anxiety that exists in the mind. Yeah? Because we're able to rejoice at what we had, see the reality of the situation, and send them on with love. I was asked to do a memorial service once that was so moving, because we wrote the memorial service while the person was still alive, and his wife got up, you know, in the service and just said, you know, all the love you gave me is just filling my heart, and now I'm just going to give it to the whole world. And she was just like lit up when she was saying this. It was totally amazing to see somebody just radiant from really rejoicing at having had that person in her life, recognizing he wasn't going to be there in the future, and recognizing what she had received, and then saying, I'm going to give that to other people now. Yeah. So instead of feeling loss, she felt like her heart was full of love. It was totally amazing for me to see this. So it really showed me that, you know, this is the way to deal with these kinds of situations.